Good morning. Looks like there's a news event CPI this morning, but that's it. Let's get right into it. Uptrend has a break and a new high. Perfect. Downtrend. Let's close outside a new low. Then we get another new high on this uptrend. It looks like we might end up going into some sort of range. Just gonna go ahead and put that there just in case. So we do this double top. Prices are starting to look a little bit range-like. Let's check out the NQ. Very similar, the new high there. New low. Yep, pretty much the same. This one looks a little different. Very range-like here. All right, pretty straightforward. So, not really looking for anything on the ES. It's looking really sideways. Same with the NQ. Basically looks the same as the ES. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and draw a potential range here too. Again, unproven, but it could be right. Prices are starting to look very sideways. R2I, I mean, I guess we could draw something like that and say there's an overshoot. Doesn't really help, but it's probably valid. Doesn't really matter. Draw the overnight low here in case that comes into play. Let's go ahead and get the overnight high too. In fact, I'm going to do that on the ES as well in case that comes into play. You never know. Just all across the board do that. It's looking like this could be a range sort of day. All right, where was I? I think I was talking about the NQ. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty sideways. Could be range like EMA starting to go pretty flat here. RTY, downtrend has a break a new low. Then it looks like we're getting, this range is probably not right here. It looks like we might be getting some sort of spike in channel. I wouldn't be surprised. Looks like we tried to go higher here. I'll see. If prices continue lower, then I'll probably start looking at some sort of spike in channel on the RTY. GC, it's pretty simple. I mean, well, it gets a little bit confusing up here. It just kind of looks like range-like stuff here. It's probably what it is, to be honest. You can see prices kind of breaking out of that and pulling back before they go lower. Get a downtrend with a break and new low. Sounds about right. I think this is a news event here. A couple attempts at a new high, get stuck in the range. I think that's probably about right. I guess this could be a closeout side. I saw it as an overshoot initially, but that's could be a break right there. So could just say this is a new high. Uptrend break, new high. Downtrend break, new low. Great. Uptrend break, new high. Great. Downtrend. Okay. So looking for shorts, potentially, on YM. I've had a couple days of not taking any trades. Just haven't really seen anything that I like. I think there's actually like one or two that I missed, but I can't really remember exactly. I'm pretty sure there's a couple that I saw that I was like, man, you know, these are actually pretty solid, that I just didn't take, and it's too bad. Okay, so we got the close outside and new low on GC, and prices are moving really quick there. I feel like I didn't look at the chart for a second, and prices are all the way down here with a lot of bars. Obviously not respecting the overnight low, or at least not right now. I'll keep it there for now and see what happens. They might come back. Let's get that range back. Expecting possible reversal back inside of the overnight highs and lows here. It'd be tempting to take a second entry short here. Thing is, like, if I draw a short-term uptrend, you can't really do it. So this is kind of a congestive low. It's kind of one low, even though you can't count this first entry and a second entry. It doesn't look like two legs back. It just looks like sideways action. I feel like my eyes like aren't fully open. I didn't get much sleep yesterday. Or not last night, but the night before. and I felt fine yesterday, but I think it's catching up to me today. All right, yeah, there we go. So we're reversing kind of back in there. That's what I expected. So looking for longs on GC. If we got a nice little second entry long off the EMA, that would be golden, in my opinion. It looks like 2 larger legs back. I don't really draw these a lot of times, so I can kind of just see it. It looks like 1, 2 larger legs down. It's not really that important though, in my opinion. All right, a downtrend played out, possible range. Excellent, excellent. I almost didn't even notice that it was 9:30. I feel like prices didn't really pick up at all, so volume's kind of died down compared to the last few days. Last few days have been crazy. It's looking like this is gonna be incorrect. We might get a larger downtrend if prices continue lower there. Okay, maybe not. Let's bring it back. I definitely like this potential setup on the GC. 1.2, 1.3, 130, 5 contracts. Just trying to do math. I try and keep my scalp sizes to around $600. So if the ATR is 1.3 roughly, so that's about $130 per contract, then I want to take this with about 5 contracts. Because that's like roughly what I'm going to be risking, assuming I took that one. It's the only one that's kind of relatively close to something I'd want to take. Range, possible range that could be a little bit higher potentially, or could not be a range at all. Range that just had a breakout. I don't really trade ranges. I'm not very good at it. I prefer to trade the trends. This is looking pretty interesting though. So let's bump that up to 5 contracts. So if we got a second entry long, if we got a second entry long off the EMA with a good signal bar, there's a good chance I would like that. It's gonna move lower though. So basically this has to break lower than this bar here and create a good signal bar off the EMA. Let's see. Let's get rid of that range. Prices are obviously continuing higher. I think it's the same on the ES. Well, it could be. Let's get back to GC though. Make sure we don't miss anything. All right, it's a possibility. If we get a good signal bar. This is a second entry long off the EMA. Kind of doubtful. Well, let's see. We're moving up. Has to be a good signal bar though. That's not a good signal bar. That's a pure doji. Pure doji doesn't close very well. Was that 5 points from the top there? All right. Yes. NQ. No. That looks about right. This range is basically dismantled now that it's gotten a break out of that high side. So it broke out the side. Boom. Seeing some downward movement. Let's go ahead and prep our order here again. Still a possibility. First entry, potential second entry. Oh yeah. All right, yeah, if we break higher there, then I'll take that. Second entry long. It's a little bit congestive, which is not ideal. Let's see, there's a decent amount of stacked bars there. I would have preferred for the other last bar to be the one that did it. Broke higher. All right. So entering that second entry long, looking for a break and new high of this uptrend right here. Had to cough there. Looking for a break and new high of this uptrend right here. This downtrend played out and we're coming back within the overnight lows. It's a little bit congestive, but it's off the EMA. It's a good signal bar. I think I'm willing to, well, I was gonna say I think I'm willing to risk that. Of course I'm willing to risk that because I'm in the trade. So. It's looking I'm just going for 1-to-1. I didn't even check. Let's see what's the 150. So a little bit larger than than the ATR, but that's okay. It's looking like there could be a spike in channel here because you just have this one leg up that turns on a dime and prices are obviously continuing lower. So I could draw this downtrend and say, okay, that has a break new low, but like we're working lower, working lower, working lower, working lower. So it makes me think that there could be some sort of larger trend here. I'm going to start with that. Let's see. So looks like we're kind of working up there. Let's see if we can get up there. Oh, wow. Okay. Looked away for a second. Price came all the way back down. So it definitely looks like this is a small little range, congestive area. Looks like that downtrend is not going to be correct. So this one's weird. Okay, looks like we got stopped out on the GC trade. So again, took this as a first entry, second entry long. Looking for the break a new high of this uptrend, coming back within the overnight lows. I think the main thing with this one is that it is kind of congestive, some sideways action. So it looks like basically what happened is congestive. There's a fail breakout, and then we move lower out of that congestion area. So that's all right. Now it looks like there is two larger legs back, so if we did get out like a higher low above the EMA, I would still consider entering that. So again, I would consider a higher low. It looks like this is just, fake out, creates a second larger leg down. Now we're moving higher. All right, so I'll take this as a higher low above the EMA. It's also a little bit sideways. But it looks to me like this is a larger two legs back. I'm gonna move this, like a larger 1, 2 legs back, push above the EMA, and then a good signal bar. So I'm still thinking the prices are probably gonna retest this high of the uptrend. Again, it is still kind of sideways, so still could be a little bit like congestive, a little bit too early. We're really moving lower on YM, but I can't exactly tell where the trend is. I'm having trouble finding it. Let's start with that. I'm thinking that's probably not worth having there as far as the spiking channel goes. I think it's better to look at it like this. We're getting close. All right, so we did get out of that. It looks like the initial trade was just a little bit too early, but the idea was right, looking for the break a new high of this. Get a first entry, second entry long. The prices were a little bit too congestive, and we had a little bit of a fake out and a second larger leg down before we ended up testing the highs. So just a little bit too early on the first one, but solid second one. Now we have the new high. Starting to look more and more like this is just a little range. That spiking channel is definitely not right. Not that. I have a feeling this channel is going to be too wide. Yeah, let's go ahead and just redraw. All right, YM is looking pretty interesting. Got a 33 ATR, 165. Like four contracts-ish. We have a first entry, potential for a second entry. Even the ES is looking pretty interesting. There could be a possible second entry or some sort of setup. For a possible second entry off the EMA and the trend line. That signal bar is not good enough for me. It's way too sideways. Doji bar, I'll look for a lower high. I mean, that signal bar, like it closes whatever 7 points from the low. Just not what I want. But if there's a lower high here, then I'll be very interested. ES is also looking interesting. If you got a second entry short, good chance I'll be interested in that. Let's flip back here. See what we get. ATR is 4.5. So I'd want to use about 2 contracts. Assuming there's a setup on this one. Wow, okay, news. No news, I don't know what's going on. Just a lot of volatility picked up right there. That's kind of scary. I left an order on the YM chart. And whenever prices started surging up on the ES, I figured they probably started surging up on the YM too. So easily could have triggered me in. I'll have to pay more attention to that. 2 larger legs up, could get a lower high. Looks like on YM we're just going to head towards that break a new low, so unfortunately there's no setup there. Could be a failure though. Oops. Possibility for a lower high, looking for the break a new low of this downtrend. inside bar. No thanks. If that was a good signal bar, I would have liked that. Still the possibility of a failure. First entry if prices come back and create a second entry. Looking like this range is just a little bit lower. Still in play. Maybe there is a spiking channel here after all. I didn't think so. Failure, nope. And just heading towards the breaking new low. In fact, on GC, we might actually be able to create a slightly wider uptrend here. Prices are still continuing higher. New low on this. So not looking for anything on the ES, not looking for anything on YM anymore, which I guess I should probably remove that. And honestly, I don't really love this uptrend on GC. This little gap right here is not awesome. It could be a spiking channel too. If we remove that, it could just be a spiking channel. But then it's really just two legs up at that point. You just see it's basically just two legs up. So let's stick with the initial. What I have like that. I'm just looking at this as two legs up. Getting just continued down action on YM makes me think there's an even larger trend here. Just tough to see exactly where that would be, because like this is not steep enough. This is way too steep. Could be a spike in channel. Maybe like that, then it skips a lot of price action. Doesn't really look right. Just stick with this for now. Play with that. Play with this. Potential. So there's been a lot of down action on YM. I'm not expecting a V-shaped reversal. It could happen, of course, but that's not going to be my expectation. I'm expecting prices to move sideways for a little while before I'm expecting them to reverse. If they do reverse, they might not at all. I'm uncertain about the downtrend on NQ, so I'm not sure if I want to look for any shorts or not. It looks like it could be confirmed on the channel line down here. There's quite a few touches, but we skip a swing right here. So I'm not sure about that one, but there could be a short potentially. ATR is 27. So one contract if I did take a trade here. If you got like a really perfect 2 legs back second entry off the EMA / trend line, then you know I might have to risk that. Still keeping an eye on this. Doesn't look like it's correct though. Okay, well, there's that. And that's perfect. 2 legs back to the EMA and to the trend line. So if you get a good signal bar, then I'm gonna have to risk that. It's looking like it's gonna be a big signal bar. Okay, I'm gonna have to drop a limit order back if that does trigger, assuming you get a good signal bar. And we traded all the way back up, so never mind. If you get a lower high, then good chance I take that. It just kind of sucks that signal bar is no good. There has to be some sort of larger trend here. I just can't exactly figure out where it is. See, yeah, I figured that this would be a good one. Just, again, no good signal bar, unfortunately. Where is the downtrend? right? You're gonna have to redraw this uptrend. Also keeping in mind that this could just be this with a break new low, but I don't like how that looks at all. I really prefer this. So I'm still thinking this could get a close outside a new low on the NQ. I'm sure that is like a terrible noise to hear on the mic. My finger's popping, but I don't know, I do it all the time. Possible second entry long. Got 1.1. Possible second entry long on the GC. Does look like this trend is about to roll over, if it's even correct. Even though today is lower volatility, it's still a much more interesting day than the past few. There's actually like a decent amount of potential trades, for me at least. I don't know. I'm pretty picky about the types of trades that I take. I know Mack marks all kinds of trades, and even Thomas too. Probably marks trades all over the place, but I don't know. At least for me, this is what's working right now, and I'm gonna stick with it. As far as expecting a close outside new low of this downtrend, I would say probably not. I mean, we're coming back within this range. We've already retraced like over half of this downtrend, so I don't really know. I'm not really dying to. Okay, we could end up getting the second entry long here. I don't really love how price is pushed below the EMA like that. No, I'm not gonna take that. Barely closing above the EMA, not a great signal bar. Kind of just looks like one leg down anyway. Like it really just looks like one leg down there. And it looks like the trend is kind of rolling over. So lots of reasons maybe not to. If we did get a really solid higher low, then I'd probably take that. To be honest, this probably looks like, I don't know. There's probably some other, like this is probably a spike of some sort. I don't think that's still within the, I mean, it could be something like that. It could not be correct at all. It could just be a break a new high. but we made a lot of swings up there. So I guess another possibility is just to have the secondary trend and say, well, this is just a spiking channel. Spiking channel up and then break a new high. That's a possibility. We'll just see how it kind of plays out. I don't really love that either, though. It's just kind of odd. Odd. Definitely not looking for any longs on YM, not at all. Reason being, again, because look at how much we've moved down at this point. Like, we need a really strong push up before I'm willing to take any longs there. Same with the ES. There's a lot of down action. This uptrend's playing out early. I would definitely be more tempted to take a short here. It doesn't look like this range is really coming into play on the NQ, so there could be a possible failure. Could be a lower high, but I don't think I'd be willing to take a lower high here. I think it's going to have to be a failure or nothing. Okay, we're not continuing down. Let's switch back to this. Is it this? Like, does it just have a breaking new high? It doesn't really look like it. Is it just this? Then it doesn't really touch the channel line. There's a lot of empty space. Could just be that. Still doesn't look great. I don't know. Don't know. It's tempting to take a failure or something here, but the downtrend already has a close outside new low. And that range is definitely not looking right. right. Looking for a failed second entry long on the NQ. Definitely not considering a lower or a higher low in here anymore. We've moved a little bit too high, and I'm very uncertain about exactly what's going on. I still feel like there just has to be something working lower here. It could be that. There just has to be some sort of larger trend here. There could even be one here too. Definitely doesn't look like prices are respecting the overnight lows. And there's a higher low that I was kind of considering, but I don't think that's a good trade to take. It doesn't look like we're going to get the failure here. Even if we did, at this point, prices are going to be moving like too far up. So we'd have to get a second entry short, you know? Shoot, maybe I'm gonna change this back. Maybe not. I was gonna say maybe this is a range and it just has played out, but I don't know. Prices are still working higher. I would consider a second entry short, even though we basically did create this new low, if it's a really good second entry short. We basically created a double bottom, so it's not quite a new low, but it's really, really close. Again, it'd have to be a really solid second entry short, with prices rejecting off the EMA. Usually I wouldn't drag the trend all the way out here. I'd just say that's like close outside new low, but it looks like prices kind of came back and touched off it again. So that's why I wanted to drag it out there. Looks like prices might get a failed second entry short on GC. So I'd be more likely to take that one than the higher low, but I'm still just too uncertain about exactly what's going on here. So I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm marking it green as something that I would not take, but is a potential trade. I marked this one green as something, well, obviously I did take it. It's just a little bit congestive. But to be honest, I mean, I took it, so I'll make it blue. It's not to say it's a great trade. All right, I'm getting into the territory of possibly overfitting this trade or this trend. Sometimes I do that, where I'm like just changing things around to make sure a trend fits, when in reality it could just be a range, like a very biased range. I do that from time to time. So just gotta watch out for that. Getting pretty close to the time whenever I stop trading, so 10:30 a.m. Eastern time is whenever I call it. I would totally trade longer. I don't mind trading longer, just other things I want to do. I mean, to be honest, I would probably trade every day, all day, if it made sense to do so. But it doesn't. I actually like how that fits a lot. So if there's an entry here, I might take that. So another thing that I like about trading the 5 charts, or I think this is 5 charts instead of just the ES, is I can really wait on like the most clear structures. So like right now the ES is not very clear, and of course I'm not looking for a trade, but you know, there's another chart, let's say the RTY, that is a lot more clear, and so I can basically just wait on like the really clear structures, and it helps me kind of wait on that, and that's something that I've liked about it, as opposed to having to sometimes force an area that doesn't actually make perfect sense. I can really wait on whenever I feel at least pretty certain, you know, like let's say for like you're never going to be 100% certain. Like even this trade that won today, I was not 100% certain. Like this could have been like we closed below the EMA here. Prices are looking a little bit choppy. I mean, you're never going to be 1000% certain, but at least I'm more certain about this scenario because all the downtrends have played out. Looks like 2 larger legs down, broke below the overnight low, and it looks like 2 larger legs like back right here too. So it's like there's just so many, you know, different reasons I can wait on whenever it's like super clear to me. And so even like this trade that I took too, I mean, it's a second entry long, it's off the EMA, it's clearly looking for a break a new high, everything else is played out. So it's like I can wait on those really, really clear moments instead of having to say, oh, well, I think this is a range. I think that this is, you know, whatever, like high or low, this, that, whatever. Just, you know, in context that maybe doesn't like make perfect sense to me. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I mean, I'm not too experienced, so, you know, don't take my word for that. Trade-off being, of course, sometimes I miss trades because I'm not paying perfectly close attention. And you would think that it would just end up me like misreading the chart a lot. But that hasn't really been the case so far. Like I would think like, oh, like I'm just like reading the trends wrong like pretty often, but I don't know. At this point, I think that I can kind of just look at the chart and look at a trend and kind of tell if it's going to be right or not. And not every single time, of course, like even this spike in channel, this could be wrong. But I can at least kind of tell whenever a trend is wrong before a trade sets up most of the time. I'd have to look back at my data, actually, to see how many trades I'm taking are just like, you know, or how many losers are from me misreading the chart, like just like completely like misreading a trend versus just kind of like, you know, being too early or, you know, missing some little small thing or whatever. I think that you can explain why every single trade has lost. And I think that you can totally do that. But then I kind of get into like analysis paralysis. And so if it like looks like a good trade and acts like a good trade, I'm probably just going to take it, even if there's like some small thing that could be wrong with it. I think that kind of comes with experience too. Like let's say for this one, like for this higher low, like why not take that one? And I think at some point I probably would have said, yeah, that's really solid with the first entry, second entry long, and a higher low right above the EMA, perfect signal bar. But it's just kind of like, I don't know, doesn't feel quite right. And I think it ends up working, but it doesn't feel right to me. I guess that's just experience based. Yeah, there we go. And that didn't really make sense to me for a while. And it still doesn't entirely make sense to me because sometimes like Mack, and this used to annoy the hell out of me, Mack would be like, oh yeah, like it's just, you know, it doesn't feel right, or just like look at this like tiny bit of congestion, it just, you know, it's not quite right, whatever. And I'm like, how, like just, it didn't make sense, you know, like you would explain something and it just didn't make sense to me. And I think that there's still definitely like tons and tons of areas where he could explain something and he just knows it intuitively and it just wouldn't make any sense to me, and that's all just experience with the chart. And some of those things are starting to make sense, but not all of them. And it's a long ways before I'll understand all of them. I'm just rambling at this point. That's it for me. It's going on 10:30, so I took one winner, one loser, both of them on GC. Took a second entry long. Then we ended up getting a second larger leg down. Then I took the higher low above the EMA for that one, looking for the break a new high. So one winner, one loser. And I will see you guys tomorrow.